Samajwadi Party declaring Nahid Hasan as its candidate from Kairana in western Uttar Pradesh has ignited a big political war in the state. Now, Nahid Hasan is currently in jail. He was arrested under the Gangster Act. BJP claims Nahid Hasan has 17 cases registered against him in Shamli and Saharanpur districts. The BJP is calling Nahid Hasan the villain of Kairana exodus of Hindus, accusing Akhilesh Yadav of trying to stoke communal fires ahead of elections in western Uttar Pradesh. A PIL has now been filed in the Supreme Court asking for the Election Commission to deregister the Samajwadi Party. A political bureau brings you a top story.
Face-off over Kairana candidates explodes. The BJP and Samajwadi Party are in a war of words after Akhilesh Yadav's party fielded MLA Nahid Hasan, the Neta accused of role in the exodus of over 300 Hindu families from Kairana. CM Yogi Adityanath has attacked the SP leadership for fielding rioters, calling it their version of social justice.
समाजवादी पार्टी गठबंधन की जो सूची आई है उस सूची को भी सबने देखा है। कैराना में हिंदू व्यापारियों के पलायन के लिए जिम्मेदार लोगों को टिकट देना समाजवादी पार्टी और गठबंधन के चरित्र को उजागर कर देता है
कि समाजवादी पार्टी में वो जाते हैं जो दंगा करते हैं, भारतीय जनता पार्टी में वो शामिल होते हैं जो दंगइयों को पकड़ते हैं।
Under relentless attacks from the BJP, the Samajwadi Party is doing a rethink. The party may replace Hasan with someone from his family who has a clean record.
तो अगर उनको गिरफ्तार कर लिया है तो उनके परिवार में जिनके ऊपर एक भी मुकदमा नहीं होगा उनको टिकट देंगे.
A plea has been filed in the Supreme Court to deregister the Samajwadi Party for fielding an alleged gangster. The petition filed by BJP's lawyer Ashwini Upadhyay also claims that Hasan had failed to publish his criminal antecedents, violating the Supreme Court orders and Election Commission rules.
It looks like that Nahid Hasan and the issue of Kairana is going to be a prominent point for the 2022 battle, raising questions by the BJP over SP and their top leaders. In Lucknow with cameraman Sandeep, Abhishek Mishra for India Today.
And Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath came out all guns blazing, saying the Samajwadi Party is sending a clear signal to Hindus of western Uttar Pradesh. If the Samajwadi Party returns to power, Kairana exodus will happen again, claims the BJP. Samajwadi Party, of course, has termed it BJP's fears over losing elections. But is the Samajwadi Party in violation of EC directive on making public the track record of candidates? Joining me on the show, Charu Pragya represents the Bharatiya Janata Party. Abhishek Sudhir is a lawyer and analyst, will give us the Samajwadi Party point of view. And Jagdeep Chokar is co-founder of Association for Democratic Reforms, or ADR. Abhishek Sudhir, if I may, the BJP claims this is a reflection of the Jinnawadi mindset, Jinnawadi mansikta of Akhilesh Yadav, giving a ticket to Nahid Hasan, notorious as he is, as the mastermind of the Kairana exodus, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Sawant, I'm not an SP spokesperson, nor am I here to put forth the Samajwadi view. I'm somebody who admires Mr. Akhilesh Yadav. And yes, you can say I'm an anti-BJP analyst, you can say that.
Fair enough.
So I'm not going to claim to be completely independent either. Yes. Well, since I'm a lawyer, I'd like to give you the legal aspect of this plea. I've had an opportunity to go through the writ petition filed by Mr. Ashwini Upadhyay. Now, Mr. Ashwini Upadhyay, we all know, is a BJP member. And just last week, he had tweeted a picture with Yogi Adityanath and his media advisor, Mrityunjay, in Lucknow. Now, the plea asks for the derecognition, or the deregistration, I should say, rather, of the Samajwadi Party on the ground that Nahid Hasan, the candidate from Kairana, has not disclosed his criminal antecedents. Now, the word criminal antecedents is, in fact, a misnomer. He has never been convicted of a single criminal charge, but yes, there are various cases against him. He is the sitting MLA from Kairana, and the special MP MLA court issued a warrant for his arrest after the ticket was granted by Samajwadi Party. Now, coming to the legal point, Mr. Sawant, I want to point out there are some candidates from the BJP, namely Suresh Rana, who's contesting from Tana Bhavan in the same district of Shamli, which where Kairana also is. Suresh Rana has cases of robbery, mischief by fire, criminal intimidation. Then you have Yogesh Dam from Bagpat, who has two charges, I should say rather just the one charge of attempt to murder and criminal intimidation. Then you have Umesh Malik from Muzaffarnagar, who has two charges of attempt to murder. Then you have Sangeet Som, who's known nationally as one of the key figures in the Muzaffarnagar riots. I've just named 4 candidates that the BJP has put forward, and this is just from the first 20 names of the 105 names they've released, Mr. Sawant. So I'll still go to the remaining 85, and if you have me back, I'll tell you all the criminal cases against the BJP candidates.
Sure.
So they also have not declared, Mr. Sawant. Just one last point. They've also not declared, they've also not published. I went to the BJP website. I would like Charu to tell us, have they abided by the EC directions? And the case is Ram Babu, 2018 Supreme Court judgment, where they say that on the website, the parties should say that these are the candidates we've given, even though they have criminal cases against them. These are the reasons we've given them tickets. Where is it in the BJP website? Is it there? Then if it's not there, then both BJP and SP should be deregistered and no one can fight the election.
Charu Pragya responds, Samajwadi Party says BJP protests are a reflection of their fear given Samajwadi Party candidate Nahid Hasan's popularity. He is sitting MLA, never convicted of the charges that you've leveled or your party is leveled, that he is responsible for the Kairana exodus of Hindus.
Gaurav, the UP model of Samajwadi Party has always been Gunda Raj and appeasement. And the Yogi model in Uttar Pradesh has been dharma and development. And that's exactly why Yogi ji will come back. And that is the bottom line of this entire debate. But because we are discussing right now Nahid Hussain, I just want to tell you a few things. One, he was not the only one who was accused. Not just accused, a special court in Shamli has actually declared him a fugitive. So it's not just a complaint in his name. There is a court which is actually calling him a fugitive. He has been absconding for 11 months after filing nomination. He's been arrested. Gangster Act, it's not something which should be taken lightly. There were 40 people who were levied with the Gangster Act. 36 of them had surrendered, one of them being Nahid Hussain's own mother. And now he's been arrested. I don't understand what is wrong with that. But you know, it's not just about Nahid Hussain. It's also about Rafiq Ansari. It's also about Mukhtar Ansari. It's about every single gangster, every single gunda that Samajwadi has been supporting for the last several years. And now that BJP government has been in place, their system has been shaken up. But when they get a chance to give out tickets again, this is the kind of people they choose. Yogi ji is absolutely right in saying that this is their version of samajik nyay. What kind of nyay is this, that you get somebody who is the core cause of the Hindu exodus in Kairana and you make him the MLA again? That is your intention. That is your idea of samajik nyay. And please let's distinguish between a person on whom even a court is saying that he's a fugitive and somebody who's merely an accused. You have to trust.
I'll get Abhishek Sudhir to respond to that. But before that, I want to bring in Jagdeep Chokar also into this conversation. Sir, a petition has been filed by BJP leader Ashwini Upadhyay in Supreme Court seeking the cancellation of Samajwadi Party's registration or recognition as a political party, saying that whether EC or SC directives and guidelines, they've been violated. Merit in both parties being in violation of the same guidelines and directives.
This is a very, what shall I say, tragic or a comic situation. Both these parties, Congress and BJP, were actually fined by the Supreme Court ₹1 lakh each for violating the same order against which now this petition has been filed. I have not seen the petition, therefore I can't comment on that. But the phenomenon of giving tickets to candidates with serious and heinous criminal cases pending against them is a rampant disease in the Indian political system. 43% of the sitting members of parliament in Lok Sabha have criminal cases pending against them. 43%, let me repeat. And all parties, whether it is Congress or BJP or Samajwadi Party or Bahujan Samaj Party or Janata Dal, whichever you name, all parties are equally guilty. They are not willing to not give tickets to such people. And I must say with great regret and of course with great respect to the Supreme Court, Supreme Court has been trying to, take these very, very baby steps around the problem. The Supreme Court has not followed its own logic of filling in a gap in a legislation, which it used in 2002, or prohibiting such people from contesting elections.
But at what levels can an individual be prohibited? Just when an FIR is registered, when a court order is issued?
Mr. Sawant, just have a little patience. Individual should be prohibited from contesting when a case has been filed against him or her more than a year before the date of the election, when the punishment for that crime is at least 2, 3 or 5 years or more of imprisonment, and 3, when charges have been framed by a court of law, which is the 4th stage in our criminal jurisprudence system. It is not merely by filing an FIR. So that this recommendation has been made by the Election Commission of India multiple times, by the Law Commission of India, and obviously by us too. But every political party is guilty of giving tickets to such people who have criminal cases pending against them, and very often serious ones.
And that's the distinction I was coming to, but I'll come to you in just a moment with that. Serious cases, not serious cases, how do you make that distinction? Abhishek Sudhir, BJP says Samajwadi Party's choice of candidates sends out a very clear message. Hindus beware. Samajwadi Party stands with the mastermind of the man who was charged under Gangster Act, whose videos went viral, asking people to boycott traders because of their political leanings.
Mr. Sawant, I agree with Mr. Chokar what he said, that after the framing of charges, you should debar a candidate from contesting. But framing charges have not been framed against Naheed Hasan. In fact, yesterday on your channel, Mr. Sawant, I asked Shazia Elmi of the BJP, maybe Charu can answer my question. Do you have the data on how many families actually migrated from Kairana? How many have actually come back? They say they have rehabilitated the family, so they should have the data. They don't give us the data. Charu threw 4 Muslim names at me. I threw 4 Hindu names at her. The secular principle is all of them have criminal cases against them. But the bigger point, Gaurav, is these are the people who are elected. End of the day, you might say anything you want against Mukhtar Ansari or Raja Bhaiya. Raja Bhaiya, Kunda ka Gunda, Mukhtar Ansari from Mao, Azamgarh. They keep getting elected, Savan. They are safe seats. The people elect them. What can you do? The people elect these people.
But are they being elected out of fear? And that is the question that we are raising. Are they being elected out of fear? That if you don't elect them, you will not live. Charu Pragya, Samajwadi Party says this is political vendetta. Their candidate was booked under the Gangster Act.
He's winning from jail.
He's winning from jail.
Fair enough.
Sometime back.
I mean, let me take this. Okay, Charu Pragya wants to respond to you.
You have the data.
So sometime back there was, excuse me, may I please speak? So sometime back, there was a change which was made in the Representatives of People Act. And that made it very clear that any MLA, any MP, any public representative who's got a case of heinous crime against him cannot contest. That's true. But
why
if
is Sangeet
the court...
contesting? Why is Umesh Malik contesting?
No.
Why are Yogesh Dama contesting? Why are these people from your party contesting?
I have not interrupted you even once, and you need to draw the distinction between heinous crime and any other criminal. No, we're not having a dialogue. This is a debate, and you're not the moderator. So when I'm done speaking,
one by one, let the lady complete her point. Sir, I'm coming to you.
Comes back to you, then you can respond. No, I'm not in conversation with you, right?
Abhishek Sudhir, let her complete her point. I will come to you.
Just ask her about the data, Gaurav.
Hold on. Let her complete her point. I will come to you.
I understand your frustration because you are supporting a political party which is fast sinking, but that frustration does not mean that you bring it out on national television. So the fact that I was trying to make is that anybody can accuse anyone of absolutely anything, and that does not count for much. What counts for much is what the police says in its report, what the court says when the case is being heard. And in this particular case, let's stick to this one for now, and then I'll come to the larger question. In this particular case, if a court is naming Nahid Hussain, as a fugitive, you have to respect the court and you cannot equate it with any other random report that you might have read anywhere else. That being said, I'm a firm believer that to clean up politics, political parties have to be careful about people they give the tickets to. Political parties have to become more conscious about the kind of people who are contesting elections also the citizens who are voting.
Let me take this to Jagdeep Chokar. Sir, you heard both the BJP spokesperson and they're both lawyers on the broadcast, and you heard Mr. Sudhir. He's saying BJP threw in 4 Muslim names, Samajwadi Party, or he's thrown in 4 Hindu names and it becomes secular. That just shows to what depths we are actually sinking to in our polity.
We are not sinking to, my dear friend. We have already sunk. We are already there. 43% is not a small number. And what the lady from BJP was saying, the change that was made was not that an elected representative who is accused of a case, who is convicted in a criminal case, he or she cannot continue to be a legislator or a parliamentarian. That change was also opposed tooth and nail by all political parties. It was a Supreme Court order that did it. And at that time, there was also a clamor to undo that Supreme Court order because a very, very leading light of a political party was to be disqualified. And mercifully, he was disqualified later. So political party, this is amazing. It is the question of the pot calling the kettle black and the kettle calling the pot black. All political parties, as I have said 3 times already, all political parties are guilty. In my opinion, no political party has a moral right to accuse any other political party. Now, I don't want to get into legalities, but I am not sure whether a fugitive is a convicted person or not.
Yes,
better lawyers will know.
No,
So
fugitive is not, but a fugitive is absconding from law. A fugitive is absconding from law.
Yeah.
A fugitive should, why should someone who's in public life be a fugitive from law?
Gaurav Samant, in law, it does not mean the same thing. I also happen to be a lawyer, but perhaps much junior to these people here.
Sir, 3 of you are accomplished lawyers.
There are different definitions. Let us not make it into a legal debate. The question is, every political party is guilty, and anybody who can stand up and say they are not guilty, I would want to have a debate one-on-one on them.
Respectfully, can I please say something?
Can I please make
one
my
by
point?
one. Okay, Mr. Sudhir, first you respond and then Charu Pragya.
Yeah, Gaurav, I'm telling you, as an analyst, we put too much faith in courts. We have to put the faith in the people. We have to tell them...
Sir, absolute faith in courts of law in our country, sir. Absolute faith in courts of law.
I have faith, Gaurav. It's not that I don't. I say we put too much faith. If people keep electing those who have criminal cases, the responsibility lies with the people. The people we elect are a representation of us. They represent us. If we are voting for a Raja Bhaiya, we are voting for a Brijesh Singh, we are voting for a Sangeet Som, we are voting for a Kapil Mishra, we are voting for a Yogi Adityanath who has an attempt to murder case, we are voting for a Keshav Prasad Maurya who had a murder case.
You will name everyone, but for some reason Nahid Hasan does not make it to your list. Is there a particular reason that a Nahid Hasan will not make it to your list, sir? Okay, Charu Pragya wants to respond to you.
This is democracy.
Is this democracy or is this very carefully playing?
The Samajwadi Party spokesperson decides to look at the world with these red tinted glasses.
Okay, Charu Pragya responds uninterrupted. Charu Pragya.
I'm not a spokesperson.
Sir, you're also not a heckler. No heckling on the broadcast, please.
Please, but it's
let her finish her point. Only Charu Pragya.
I can't be called
only Charu Pragya.
Please clarify.
I don't care. You are not going to speak in my time. You've done it often enough. The point I'm trying to make is this person on the panel with me looks at everything through red tinted glasses, and beyond that, I don't think he seems to have a vision. He's even questioning our honorable courts. I think our faith in court is absolute. When our courts call somebody a fugitive, it means that person is not cooperating with our law. It basically means that person is not available for the court proceedings to go on, and that itself is serious enough, sir. I don't know what kind of law you have studied that that you don't think it's serious, but that's how I've been taught things. Another point is that today, if I sit here on television and file a case against you, you're heckling me, of course, but maybe I can write 10 out of the sections and I just file it in my nearest police court, police station. It does not mean that tomorrow you cannot be given a ticket because Charu is saying so. It needs to be proved or said so by an authority more competent than the one who's making the complaint.
Well, be that as it may, Madam, as far as Nahid Hasan is concerned, Nahid Hasan hasn't been convicted of any case. He hasn't been convicted of exodus of Hindus from Kairana. That's an accusation that you have leveled. Your party has leveled, ma'am.
So, Gaurav, first of all, a police personnel is going to arrest somebody only when their own paperwork is solid. I'm sure you agree with that. A police personnel is going to be done with its investigation. It's been 10, 11 months now already. So once the investigations is done, only then the action starts happening. So let's appreciate the fact that after investigations, if our police sees fit to arrest somebody, then the charges levied against that person would have been found to be true. And I'm again quoting the Shamli Special Court. They say he's been a fugitive. Maybe the police would have arrested him a couple of months back had he not been a fugitive.
Okay. Abhishek Sudhir, Yogi Adityanath says giving a ticket to those accused of forcing Hindus to sell their homes.
I have a right to rebut, please.
You do, you must. And to those accused in Muzaffarnagar riots or history sheeters or accused in Bulandshahr and Loni, these are words of the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister. They reflect the character of the Samajwadi Party. Samajwadi Party ka charitra ye dikhata hai is what the Chief Minister says.
Yeah, Gaurav, I am not a spokesperson. I just want to say this. I did not attack Charu. I have not talked about what glasses Charu wears or what kind of law she studied. Every night a BJP spokesperson attacks me. Yesterday was Shazia, today is Charu. When they don't have answers to my question, I have a simple question. Again, I will ask you. Do you have the data? How many families migrated from Kairana? How many of them migrated because of Nahid Hasan? You're getting the name wrong. The person in jail, the person who was extorting those families is Mohammad Furqan. And Mohammad Furqan has been sentenced to 10 years in prison on Saturday. Nahid Hasan has nothing to do with the so-called exodus. Hukum Singh, your MLA, took back those allegations. NHRC said there was no exodus. Indian Express said there was no exodus. If you're saying there's an exodus, you're a lawyer, you've studied the Indian Evidence Act. Please prove it. Give us data. Don't attack Abhishek Sudhir. Attacking Abhishek Sudhir is not going to win you the election. I'm a nobody.
Okay.
Tell us the data. Prove it. Tell us how many families left.
A charge as serious as this, Jagdeep Chokar. Yes, ma'am, you must respond, but let me get an independent view on this. A charge as serious as communal violence or inciting riots or actions resulting in an exodus, and then someone accused of these charges gets a ticket. Is that morally wrong, even if it's legally correct?
No, Abhishek, I have... no, sorry.
Gaurav Sawant, go on, sir.
Gaurav Sawant, I have already said that there are all kinds of charges of this kind. But a mere acquisition, this is what political parties themselves say, a mere acquisition does not result in anything. And an arrest by a police is not a conviction. You know, either you go by law or you go by moral. The morality requires that half the candidates, at least, if not more than half, should not be given tickets. But where is morality? Who is listening to morality? Who is following morality? People who are accusing are themselves accused. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, just to say that he has been arrested, I hold no brief for anybody. Yes. But you can comment on what kind of a law have you studied. But you also say that a person who has been arrested, the police must have found the charges to be true.
How,
my dear friend,
how is that possible?
Can I come in, please?
You look at Asim Arun, Gaurav.
One by one. Charu Pragya first.
Just 10 seconds.
No, I will come to you. Hold on. One by one, sir. When you spoke, no one interrupted. Then Mr. Chokar and now Charu Pragya.
What Mr. Chokar said.
Sure.
10 seconds.
After Charu Pragya finishes a point. Go on, ma'am.
So, Gaurav, I am going to first tell you what the NHRC data says. Approximately 400 families had left Kairana due to this exodus. 400 families, and NHRC is saying this. My co-panelist can check this himself. And they had left Allegedly, because this area was Muslim dominated and there was the person who's being protected by my co-panelist today, Mr. Hasan, who has been called
Hasan.
the core mastermind behind this entire incident. This report is there for everybody to see, right? So I have given you data now. 400 families, हर family में 3-4 लोग तो होंगे साहब. Multiply करके देख लीजिए. आपको जानों की कीमत नहीं है. For you
was 300.
and the party
Singh
who
said
support
300.
every
You're inflating
single
the figure.
One by one,
No,
one by one.
I'm not. I have the NHRC report in
Show
front
us
of
the
me.
report.
चलो
You have
300
it
पर
in
तो
front
आप
of
आ
One
गए.
by one.
All right,
Do you have the
great.
report?
So
Okay,
Gaurav,
so
Gaurav,
this
no,
isn't a channel
please
where
don't-
everyone speaks
No,
at the same time, and
I
sir,
don't
let me not have to
understand
remind
what
you the
this
third
person-
time. You've made
What
your
is your
point.
problem?
Be patient.
Let
I'll
me
come to you,
finish.
but let her complete her point, sir.
Yes,
Similarly, when you speak, no one will
I don't
interrupt.
like this. I will appreciate it if you stick to your time slot. It really annoys me. Please let me finish. So you have yourself admitted to 300 families being sent out of their homes in Kairana. Thank you very much. Point proved. Thank you, Gaurav.
That was the claim by Hukum Singh. That was the claim by Hukum
NHRC
Singh, which he
you really
retracted.
need to learn.
Hukum Singh
you
said
really need to
300.
learn
How can
the meaning
NHRC
of
say
what
400? Bhai?
No,
Hukum Singh
Mr.
said
Nadeem,
300.
please learn how to
NHRC
have a
is
decent
inflating
debate.
the figure.
आपको इतना चिल्लाने का शौक है? I'm sure there are other
Madam,
channels which are available to you.
चिल्ला नहीं
मेरे
रहा हूँ.
time पे मत
Okay,
बोला
what
करो.
action
आप
have you
अपने time
taken?
पे बोलो.
Okay,
आप
what
अपने time
action
पे
have you
बोलो.
taken?
ठीक है?
Okay,
Action में बता